Today's video is sponsored by Nobility.co.uk, the leading company in selling legal titles in the United Kingdom. Get a 10% discount in any purchase by mentioning Death Row. In the current highly globalized world, it is next to impossible to talk about manufacturing without mentioning China. The supply chain of most import-export businesses globally has at least one supplier in China. While sourcing manufactured goods from China offers a wide range of benefits, it also comes with a myriad of challenges. According to global product inspection data, ACL failure rates for China is around 30%, which means that 1/3 of the products are either defective or non-compliant with custom regulations. But you can avoid quality issues and mitigate the risks of non-compliance by adhering to QC best practices. Whether you're a retailer or an importer, quality control in China is important. Article 5 of Law of the People's Republic of China on Product Quality states that it is prohibited to forge or fraudulently use authentication marks or other product quality marks. It is prohibited to forge the origin of a product, or to forge or fraudulently use the name and address of another producer. And it is prohibited to mix impurities or imitations into a product that is manufactured or for sale, or pass a fake product off as a genuine one, or pass a defective product off as a quality one. In 2007, China was involved in a crisis that put pressure on the country over the lack of quality of products manufactured in Chinese territory. Among those accused of participating in a major corruption and fraud scheme was Zheng Xiaoyu, director of the State Food and Drug Administration of China from 2003 to 2005, and a politician from the Communist Party of China. Xiaoyu had also served as director of the State Pharmaceutical Administration from 1994 to 1998 and head of the State Drug Administration from 1998 to 2003. His role in the important position, however, was one of the targets of the investigation that sought to identify the person responsible for the death of hundreds of patients who had ingested counterfeit food and medicines. Born in Fuzhou, Fujian on December 10, 1944, Zheng Xiaoyu eventually studied to receive his bachelor's degree in biology from Fudan University in 1968. He joined the Chinese Communist Party in November 1979. Zheng was the director of the State Pharmaceutical Administration from 1994 to 1998, the first head of the State Drug Administration, which he had successfully lobbied for its establishment, from 1998 to 2003, and director of the State Food and Drug Administration from 2003 to 2005. Zheng took over the helm of the newly formed State Food and Drug Administration in 1998, after having headed the State Pharmaceutical Administration for the previous 5 years. The post gave him wide authority to streamline the chaotic system he had inherited. Zheng played the role of reformer, in part by enforcing national standards for traditional Chinese medicines and requiring good manufacturing practice at all drug companies. But the requirement that drug makers comply with the new standards also proved useful for those looking to extract bribes. Zheng himself was accused of taking 6.49 million yuan, $832,000 in exchange for pushing through the approvals of questionable drugs. His wife and son were also investigated and reportedly arrested for running consulting agencies to which this referred applicants. In May 2007, Zheng was convicted of taking bribes and dereliction of duty and sentenced to death by a trial court in Beijing. He had taken bribes totaling more than 6.49 million RMB, or a rough equivalent of $850,000 from 8 pharmaceutical companies in exchange for personally approving unproven and unsafe medicines. While working as the head of China's Ministry of Food and Drug Safety, these approvals caused the deaths of over 800 people in Panama from cough syrup that contained diethylene glycol in place of glycerin. It was also discovered that during the 8-year period of drug oversight, Zheng personally ordered approvals of more than 150,000 new medicines, a number 134 times that of the US FDA, which approves, on average, 140 new medicines annually. Most of those 150,000 medicines were the products of the 8 pharmaceutical companies that bribed Zheng. A single unsafe medication of an Zheng Xiaoyu on-world best biology pharmacy, since closed, resulted in 14 patient deaths, hundreds being permanently disabled, and several thousand more falling seriously ill. And Zheng Xiaoyu's CEO committed suicide before his arrest. Zheng's trial resulted in a death sentence. He was also ordered to forfeit all of his property. The 63-year-old Zheng appealed for leniency, noting that he had confessed to the crime and cooperated with investigators which, by Chinese law, could merit a lighter sentence but to no avail. Chinese authorities say the harsh sentence was fitting. Zheng approved 6 types of medicines during his tenure. One antibiotic alone was reportedly to blame for 10 deaths. The court found that Zheng greatly undermined the uprightness of an official post and the efficiency of China's drug monitoring and supervision, endangered public life and health, and had a very negative social impact. He was executed on July 10, 2007. Lethal injection was used for the execution. In a note written before his execution, Zheng said he was sorry for what he had done. The day after Zheng's execution, the SFDA announced plans for a new system that is expected to go into effect the 1st of October. Under the new rules, drugs will be approved by a special panel, rather than by any single person. Agency officials will carry out spot checks on manufacturers. New chemical entities as opposed to the copycat drugs that have dominated the list of SFDA approvals thus far will be given fast-track status in the approval process. The SFDA also plans to crack down harder on those who violate the rules. Companies that give false information about their drugs could be barred for 3 years from applying for new drugs. Access to information on drug approvals will be open, rather than dependent on personal connections within the agency. Transparency is the enemy of corruption. In an attempt to make the agency's decisions more open, the SFDA also plans to hold press conferences on a fixed date every month, in contrast with the previous custom of holding them only when there were notable announcements. Thank you for watching Death Row.